Wow, it's finally happening. What's going on, everybody? My name is Blitzwinger. Ladies and gentlemen, today, Warner Brothers Animation and DC Studios have officially announced that they are putting together an absolute Batman animated series. Yes, finally, my goodness. I feel like this is one of those things that I've been kind of beating the drum for years now, even before Absolute Batman was created, just because I feel like anime has the script. Just follow it. They release manga, the manga gets popular, they turn it into anime, the anime makes the manga even more popular, rinse and repeat. It's a proven formula. But for whatever reason, Marvel and DC have seemingly avoided it up until now. Hopefully, starting with the success of Absolute Batman, more and more of these exciting stories from the comic book side of things could be converted into animation, and because of that, draw in people who are not interested in the comic book side of things. Because again, some people don't want to bother with comics, but if you give them an animated show, they'll definitely give it a chance and give it a watch. Now, what do we know about this show? Well, we know the following details. First and foremost, the adult animated series Absolute Batman is going to, of course, be based on the award-winning and best-selling DC comic book series written by Scott Snyder and drawn by Nick Dragotta. So we do have confirmation that they're going to be adapting that storyline. We also have confirmation that it will be an adult animated series, which means that obviously they're not going to censor a lot of the brutality and the violence that we expect from Absolute Batman. So it seems like they're going to hold true to that. So that's good. They did also confirm that Scott Snyder will serve as executive producer and showrunner for the show itself, and Nick Dragotta will function as a producer on the show as well. So it's nice that they have the original creators involved in some capacity with this thing. But Scott Snyder running the show, again, I don't think he has any sort of experience running a TV show or anything like that. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can do a good job or a bad job. But regardless, having the original forces there, I think is important, because hopefully they'll be able to kind of steer the ship and make sure that the vision for the show captures the same sort of like visceral excitement of the comic book series. Now, on top of that, they did go ahead and give us a series official plot description, which reads: Absolute Batman boldly reinvents the Batman mythos for a new generation of fans, reimagining the Dark Knight as a working class hero up against impossible odds and most terrifying foes ever. On a mission to prove that even in an era of wealth, power, and corruption, one good person can change the world. No manor, no money, all Batman. When you take away the manor, the money, the advantages, what are you left with? Something absolute. So obviously, again, that is pretty much, I think, word for word the description for Absolute Batman as a comic book series as well. So it seems like they're just going to go ahead and adapt that side of things. Other details that we know, first and foremost, during the event at which they announced this, which was the Annecy International Animation Film Festival, they did actually show the crowd, we don't have images of that yet, a 3D model of Absolute Batman from the show, or as they're planning to show the character. We also got this beautiful logo right here with DC Studios and Absolute Batman down below. And we did learn that this will indeed be a CG show, which is probably something that I think is going to turn some people off. And personally, I am someone who is not a big fan of CG animation. Like, for example, Beware the Batman, I think, is actually a pretty good show in terms of like the writing, the acting. I think it's pretty decent, but boy, oh boy, that animation for me and for a lot of other people really turned people away and were kind of making the show unwatchable or not as excited to go ahead and watch it. So I do wish that this would have been actually 2D animation. I definitely think that that is a misfire. However, I will say that just because it's CG does not mean that they can't do a good job. Like, we did get the Gargoyle or Batman Gargoyle trailer a little while back for the comic book series, and that looked pretty cool. The Green Lantern animated series is CG, and that was pretty good. So I think that just because it is CG doesn't mean that it will necessarily be bad. I just wish that it was 2D, because I think then I kind of feel a lot safer about being excited about how the show will actually look. What makes the whole thing even more confusing in terms of the decision to make it CG is the following announcement. Because during that same panel where they announced Absolute Batman is becoming an animated series, they also announced Crypto the dog is going to be getting an animated show, which is awesome. So you get something a little more family friendly. I think that's really, really smart for them to do. But then, excitingly so, they went ahead and announced Joker Laugh Riot. And they specifically titled this as their very first in-house anime series. They even gave us a description, which reads, when Batman is murdered, the Joker launches a ruthless crusade through Gotham's underworlds to find the killer who took away his greatest adversary. But as his violent quest for answers pushes him closer towards vigilante than villain, Joker is forced to confront the truth that without Batman, he doesn't know who he is. And this show is already confirmed to be in actual production. And on top of that, they did confirm that because this is an anime series, it will be animated in 2D. So to me, I'm like, I don't know. I guess maybe it was Scott Snyder or Dragotta that made the decision to make Absolute Batman CG instead of 2D. So I'm not really sure who arrived at that decision, but it's just odd that during the same time and during the same panel where they announced Absolute Batman and announced that it will be CG animated, they then also announced Joker Laugh Riot, which will not be CG animated. So kind of frustrated by that. I almost would have loved to see that kind of flip-flop where the 2D animation or the anime style that would lend itself perfectly to something like Absolute Batman would be chosen for that instead of Joker Laugh Riot. But again, I also feel like we're a little early right now to jump to conclusions because we actually need to see like a trailer or some sort of actual piece of animation to judge the CG animation of Absolute Batman. Now, I will also say, just as I was about to put the final edits on this video, we did also get confirmation that the Joker Laugh Riot show is indeed in production, as is Crypto. However, Absolute Batman is only currently still in development, meaning that it does not have an attached network yet or hasn't been officially like greenlit, whereas Joker Laugh Riot has already got the green light to be in production. So I guess I suppose that means that we're probably a little early with Absolute Batman. However, with how successful the comic book is, selling millions and millions of copies, I do think that it will be really smart for DC Studios to put a good amount of resources behind this thing to try to get it out in front of the public as soon as possible. One other thing that I really hope they don't do with Absolute Batman is go the direction of Invincible. And no, I don't mean like because Invincible is obviously very successful. I hope this Absolute Batman show is also very successful, but I'm talking more so about casting for famous actors. I think it's much smarter to go ahead and keep your budget smaller on the voice acting side of things by actually casting voice actors. I really hope that they go in that direction where they just cast voice actors for Absolute Batman instead of being like, oh, well, I want to work with celebrities, so I'm going to cast a bunch of famous people. And then the budget for each episode balloons like crazy. And then the animation budget suffers like we've seen with Invincible. So I really hope that they kind of allocate their budget accordingly here, where like maybe 30% goes to the voice acting and 70% goes to the animation. That way they do a great job of recreating a lot of those epic clashes and battles that we have seen in the Absolute Comics comic books. But let me know what you guys think. Are you guys excited about Absolute Batman? Is this something that you are very much looking forward to? Are you nervous about Absolute Batman, considering that it has been confirmed to be a CG animated show? Do you think that this will be Beware the Batman all over again? Or will people give it a chance just based on the fact that Absolute Batman is so massively successful on the comic book side of things? Please let me know down in the comments section below. Do you agree, disagree with the details on the voice acting? Do you think that they should just try to cast as many famous people as possible and focus on the voice acting part? Or should they go ahead and make sure to invest on the animation side of things so that then we end up with some epic battles? With all that in mind, of course, guys, if you did enjoy today's video, please don't forget to leave a like. I will hopefully catch you guys here on the next one. Have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day. Peace out. See you later, alligators. Bye-bye, everyone.